Hello everybody, Friday again, cheers, 2009 Corbière. Black currants and raspberry, I would say, very nice. Now to business. This knife review was intended to be going back to budget knives, but following on from the previous review of the felt Niven, I've changed my mind. I want to review the Maserin Atti, and the reason for that is that a lot of comments around the pricing for the felt Niven, which I agree with. Even though I got mine at a massively reduced price, I still ended up paying a shade under £80, and I think that is too high for that particular knife. Lovely knife, but excuse me, I think £80 was pushing it a bit. This knife, however, was also £80. Well, not to me. It was my Christmas present last year from my lovely missus. But it'd be £80 to purchase, and I think it's worth every penny. So if you'll join me at the desktop, we'll see if I can convince you as well. Okay, so here we have the Maserin Atti. As you can see, it comes in a little plain leather slip case. Very soft leather actually, very nice, pocket friendly. And here is the knife. I think this is an absolutely lovely knife. I'll quickly run through some of the specs. The close length is 92mm, about 3 5/8. Open it's 160mm, which is just under 6.5 inches. The blade is 70mm, which is 2 3/4. And the blade steel is CPM S35VN with a Rockwell of 60. We've got nickel silver bolsters, and the weight is 96 grams, which is 3.4 ounces. So it's not a lightweight knife. You do feel a good amount of heft, as it were. The scales, when I bought this, these scales were advertised as Faggio Beech, but when you look in the catalogue, the Faggio scales are completely different, and these look actually more like the olive scales in the catalogue. So I'm unsure. It's on balance, it's probably the olive wood rather than the beech. But anyway, as you can see, we're held on with 2 slot head screws and another 2 on the bolsters. See the thumb stud on one side, opens very smoothly. The blade is mounted on PTFE bushes, bearings. So as you can see, it's what would generally be considered a gentleman folder shape nowadays, flat grind, satin finish, very smooth. Stainless steel liners and backspacer, quite reasonable polish on there. And as you can see, all the way around on the liners, we've got this crinkly edge, sort of reminiscent of file work, but it's clearly not. It's obviously pressed out when the liners were stamped. We've got a liner lock, and the lockup is about 50%. I was going to launch into a rant about early and late lockups, but I think I'll leave that for today, because I don't want to distract from just how bloody lovely this knife is. As you can see, with the thumb stud on one side, we have got a Torx screw there, so I think it's fairly clear that you could mount that either side. We've got some laser engraving on the blade, so I'll just see if I can get rid of a few paw marks. So we've got the company logo and name, Maserin, The company was founded in 1960 by Maserin Atti, so they've been going just over 50 years now. And underneath, I don't think the camera will pick this up, fairly poor camera, but we've got stainless steel CPM S35VN. On the other side, the model name Atti, and that derives from the guy who designed this model, Attilio Marotti, so Atti being a shortened form of Attilio. And there we also have QM symbol, which stands for Qualità Maniago, give or take the pronunciation. That is like a benchmark scheme for the Maniago region, and companies can apply to have the quality of their products assessed, and if they meet the required standards for the product and the production process, they're allowed to use the QM standard along with their branding. So we've got nice nickel silver bolsters. The back spacer is flat, but the blade, the back of the spine, is curved. It's very nicely finished, so it does feel good in the hand. You can comfortably get I can comfortably get a 4-finger grip. No jimping as such on the back, but it's not that sort of a knife, it's too elegant for that. And with the blade being S35VN, as you would expect, it is there we go, absolutely razor sharp. And this is by far the best factory edge I've come across up to now. Lovely slicer, and up to now that's the only slicing it's done. So let's just have a go. First time with a bit of cardboard, and I think struggling to find how to hold it and keep it on camera, but it just goes through like butter. That was with the grain, so that's a bit easier. But then across the corrugations, it's just straight through. And you could comfortably do that all day. I would have ooh, a couple of scratches on the blade there from the cardboard. Oh dear. Never mind. It doesn't really affect the silky smooth cutting edge. I think this is lovely, absolutely lovely. The fit and finish is flawless. If you follow all the edges round where the scales meet the liners, where the scales meet the bolsters, the polish on the back spacer and the liners, liner lock releases easily. And I think whilst you probably could swap the thumb stud because of that torque screw, we only have an indent on one bolster, and looking at where the outside edge of the thumb stud sits, I think it probably would be right up against that bolster, so it may not be ideal. But also as well, you've got the direction of the liner lock, which is clearly for a right-handed person. So that is the Maserin Atti, and I'll just show side by side. This is a Victorinox Spartan copy, but it's exactly the same size. So as you can see, it's very much in that sort of ballpark for overall size. But for £80, I think you've got such good quality construction, lovely materials. Shame I've scratched that up, but never mind. And as I say, functionally it's lovely. It does feel in the handle heavy, with the big nickel silver bolsters are going to contribute a lot of weight, and the back space is quite substantial. The blade thickness, I would say, is 3mm, so it is a substantial pocket knife. And in terms of the collection, so as I was saying before the memory card ran out, in terms of the collection, this knife being from Maniago, excuse me, represents another traditional knife making region. I have the Laguiole for Thiers in France, and hopefully in time we'll get Secchi City and Zollingen and Sheffield all covered. But there we have my review of the Maserin Atti. We'll finish off with a few screenshots, a few close-ups, and hopefully be able to see some of the detail a bit better. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.